We're on. Hello. My name's Matt. I had no idea how to prepare for tonight, so I kind of decided not to prepare. We're going to run this kind of like an interactive Q&A. This is Slido. You can scan the QR code on your phones. You can vote on various questions. You can ask your own questions. And so hopefully I'm going to be able to sidestep preparing for this entire thing and actually get to what you guys want to hear about. Because I have no idea what you want from me, really. Do you want... so, actually, I would like just a little poll now. Who is interested in... raise your hand. So, okay, I'll tell you what. A little bit about me, which is that I was a voice coach and singing teacher for like 6 years in my early part of my career, I suppose. I swapped over into dev. I went from junior to mid to did the usual thing. And in February 2022, I started posting some videos on Twitter about TypeScript. Because I've been doing a lot of TypeScript at the time. I found it really interesting. And these were very, very simple videos, just literally 2 minutes long of just me in the corner explaining a bit of complicated TypeScript. And I think I've got a journal entry somewhere where I said, oh, I gained 15 followers today. It's a real banner day, incredible stuff. And that spiraled and spiraled and spiraled. I made more and more of those. People very quickly started asking me for a course. When's your course coming out, of course? So I made a course. That course, I'm going to do a very un-British thing and actually tell you the revenue my course made, because there's no other way to actually contextualize how mad it was without saying the number. It made $3.5 million, right, over the course of 2 and a bit years. Fucking bonkers, right? So that then took me from just random sort of lead dev into this person doing this full time. And I suppose I am extremely opinionated about every single part of my entire process, but I have no idea what opinions you really want to hear. Do you want to hear about how I produce videos, for instance? Do you want, and how much I believe in automation and creating an extremely slick pipeline? I literally have a pipeline where I just press record, it then queues up an edit for me, it will then go and edit, I then review the thing, I usually don't even review it, and I just post it. That means I can post literally about 5 videos in half an hour or something, bonkers. So that is something I've been working on for years and years and years. Do you want to know about how I like to structure courses? Because I'm extremely opinionated on how good developer courses should be done. Every time I've released a major course, I've tried to do something that has never been done before. With this AI course, which literally launched today, I'm going into AI, of course everyone is. I made a course called AIhero.dev, which is all about AI and TypeScript. And every single exercise in the course is literally a prompt that you take and you just paste it into your IDE and it completes the exercise for you. So that's kind of what we're all doing now. And actually, I genuinely think it's the future of courses. You like my shirt? Thank you very much. Can I actually I can probably just remove that, can't I? Oh yeah. Look at that, answered. There we go. Woo! I suppose, raise your hand if you would like to make good content for developers. Cool. Keep your hand raised if you would like that content to be video content. Okay. Some people sort of like doing this. Raise your hand if you would like it to be articles instead. Okay. Okay. Half article. I'm extremely opinionated about articles as well. I've written a fuckload of articles in my time too. I also like deriving articles from videos. That's very fun. Raise your hand if you want to create courses. And by courses, what I mean is essentially any kind of content that's interactive, that users type something into the screen, let's say, or they get exercise from it. Raise your hand if you want to do courses. Okay, not many, cool. And raise your hand if you primarily want to target, okay, there's 2 choices. You can either target developers or you can target developer companies. In your head, you must choose one right now. Are you doing B2B or are you doing B2C? Raise your hand if you want to target developers. Raise your hand if you want to target developer companies. I know nothing about targeting developer companies, I only know about developers. So, great. So we had a long conversation earlier and I added nothing to the conversation. So, let's have a little look around here. Developers, developers, developers. I want you guys to upvote this stuff. I'm going to remove that crud, sorry. Pipeline sounds good. What developer content do you admire? Okay. And how long have I got, by the way? As long as I want. Okay. I'm looking at an organizer here instead of the audience. Okay. I've got an idea of how I want to go. What do developers want? I have the main kind of sort of source of what I do is basically helping people where they are. Where they are. By the way, Excalidraw sucks. TLDraw is the only one. It really does. I mean, genuinely, I switched to TLDraw quite a while ago because just Excalidraw just looks like dog shit. And
you heard out here first.
I genuinely. So help people where they are. What does this mean? This is not my idea. This is Wes Boss's idea, which is that if you're trying to pull people off the platform where they are, they will not follow you. You need to help people exactly where they are, and where they are is on Twitter most of the time, right? Or where they are is scrolling on YouTube. And I really loved your talk, by the way, Kay's talk, because it really got me thinking about what I'm doing when I'm helping people. Because sometimes when I'm helping people, I'm kind of like trolling for affection, in a way. I'm kind of trying to say, right, I will help you, and that will, I'm sort of incentivized to help you because then people will see me as a helpful person, right? I got the best interaction ever when I helped Wes Boss with a problem, and he retweeted me saying, look, it's the Rodney Mullen of TypeScript. You know, I did some cool TypeScript. And that sort of led people to then call me the Rodney Mullen of TypeScript, and that got shortened to the TypeScript Wizard. Now it seems to be just Mr Typescript. And of course that means that if people see you as some kind of authority figure, then they'll buy your stuff and buy your courses. But I'm curious about you. Why do you want to do this? What's the end goal in terms of what's the end goal in terms of why you want to create content? Can anyone answer me that? If anyone has got their hands up. $3.5 million. That would be good. Anyone else? Yeah.
I actually make some stuff, and I want to get people interested in the stuff I make.
Yeah. You make an open source library or like a product or something. Yeah. Yeah. So I guess. Oh, fuck. This is a lot harder than I thought it was going to be, actually, because yeah, go on. Oh, you're just stretching. Okay.
I think it makes me less lonely, and it makes other people feel less lonely too.
Creating content or and communicating to people through content. Yeah, I absolutely agree. So let me go back to this. There's helping people where they are, which is how do you, and there's a lot of strategy in this, which is how do you work out exactly what people want and give it to them in exactly the location where they are. And what this also means is respecting people's time. Because there's a lot of the Lex Friedmans of the world will provide a sort of 4-hour swimming pool which you can drown yourself in. But developers don't go for that, because usually a developer is scrolling on their timeline between commits, or while they're waiting for their CI to do, or they've got a little lunch break or something, and they're just sort of looking for something interesting. And if you can create an experience which they go, wow, that's phenomenal, I love that, in as short a time as possible, then they'll dig you for it. Dig you for it, they'll dig it. Now, what the final thing means is, what's the emotion that you're trying to get out of this? What are you trying to get people to go if they're going to use your open source product or your whatever? Is you are trying to create a moment where their brain explodes. That's what you want. You want, where's the thing? No. Ah, shit, I mapped FN to dictation, so it's no good to me. Exploding brain emoji. That's what you want. Now, exploding brain emoji, where does that fit in terms of entertainment versus education? It's a really interesting idea, right? Because when you're exploding someone's brain, you're not really teaching them anything, right? Or maybe you are teaching them something. Maybe you're trying to insert something into their brain, right? As you said earlier. What does that mean? Now, a really great example of this is the very first video I posted. My hair was in different places. it was all about transforming a discriminated union into an object, or possibly the other way around. And that just meant sort of like doing this funny TypeScript dance, and at the end of it you go, oh wow, it works, phenomenal. And that does teach you something, but it's quite sugary what it teaches you. And that's sort of what you want when you're creating this kind of content, helping people where they are, respecting their time, making sure it's very, very concise, giving them this thing. It's sort of sugary, right? You are taking the essence of what it means to be excited about something, distilling it down into the smallest possible bit. And what I've found is that developers love sugar, but they will pay for vegetables. Okay? Now, sugar is the entertainment part, right? You're trying to... I love your talk so much because it got me thinking that what I'm really doing when I'm doing this process is I'm not actually teaching people. I'm showing people what the end state is once you have learned it, right? I'm showing you that these problems are tractable. I have a lovely, calm voice. I'm explaining to you in a very ASMR way how to get these wonderful problems sort of sorted out, and doesn't it look all very easy and simple? And so I'm showing you the end state. And then it's my job to actually, like, teach you it, right? And so people will pay for the vegetables, but they just love sugar as a thing you want to sort of... And I suppose what that means in terms of showing you something, showing the potential of what your thing can do, is, I think at the top of this, is it's all about problems and solutions. This is how I think about every little video that I do is a problem and a solution. Every article is a problem and solution, or they're composed of multiple problems and solutions. You give them, you get them to understand why something is important, you tell them the problem, and then you show them the solution and how elegant it is. Or sometimes not even how elegant it is, but just how crazy it is, how weird it is, how funny it is that you had these tools available to you all along, you just needed to put them together, and bam, you've got the exploding head emoji. I've not been paying attention to your questions. At what stage do you feel you've learned something enough to teach, or is that the process how you learn? What a great question. I can highlight that question, can't I? Way. Thank you, James. So I had a teacher before I became even a singing teacher. This was when I was did drama at university, unbelievably. Who said, you only really need to know 10% more than your student in order to teach them. If you know 10% more than your student, then when your student asks you a question you don't know, you say, oh, we'll do that tomorrow. That's tomorrow's lesson. And you go away and you figure out what they want. Because actually the learner is just telling you what they want. And actually, the useful thing when you're a teacher is not knowing the thing, it's knowing what learners don't know, right? This is what happened. I've dropped the bloody fluffer.
Not again.
Not again. This happens every time. This happens all the time when I look at, especially I'm going to call out a library. It's a library called Effect, which is, Effect is essentially what they market it as the standard library for TypeScript. It's an extremely, it has maybe more methods and functions in it than the entire JavaScript language itself. It's extremely enormous. And of course, because every developer who's worked on Effect is effect-pilled, as the kids say, they think it's easy, and they think it's simple, and they think it's intuitive, and they don't have the beginner eyes. And so the beginner eyes, I would say, are much more valuable than the expertise. I had to backfill that for myself with the TypeScript course, because I sort of had the expertise, but I was kind of used to that process because I've been teaching for so bloody long. But when you genuinely don't know something and you're thinking, oh, maybe I've got a bit of imposter syndrome, I'm not sure how to teach this or how to even make a tip about it. It's just a tip, you know. Like, often I see that people's content fails, not because they don't know the subject, but because they don't know what people want to learn. Does that make sense? They don't know what people want, and it's all about helping people where they are. That doesn't just mean on social media, it means helping people where they are on their journey to learning the thing. Great question. I want to stay away from technical stuff, and until maybe the end. Do tell about structuring the course. So I've got 5 likes there. Okay, actually I'm going to answer this one because it's good. So niches. Before I was the TypeScript guy, I worked on an open source library called XState. I didn't have kids at the time, so I could sort of devote a bit of my spare time to working on this fun library with a guy called David Khorshid. It was really my sort of entry into the world of like Twitter, I suppose, was building up my following actually by talking about XState. So I wasn't the XState guy because the creator of the library, the benevolent dictator for life, was the guy. But I was a sort of secondary minion, kind of following around and posting articles and doing interesting things. So that was my niche for a bit. And it was only after doing that for about a year, 2 years actually, I niched up into TypeScript. And I found that there was actually a developer community, a bigger developer community. So I think actually specializing on something, being the thing guy, being the TypeScript guy, I can't be the AI guy because Andrej Karpathy is there, but you know, you can be a sort of AI minion, there's plenty of those. Was I worried I would miss out on the traffic and attention? Hell no, because you've got to specialize. People need to know you for something, right? Anyone who's seen Simeon on Twitter, wherever he is, he's the running guy, basically, who sometimes talks about dev. And you are the toe pond person as well. So good question. How much of my motivation comes from what you want to tell people versus what you want people to hear? Or is it the same thing? I think this comes back to helping people where they are again, right? A lot of what I do, I'm in an interesting bit at the moment because I've had all this kind of, I know what it means to talk about TypeScript. Talked about TypeScript for a long time now. Wrote a book about TypeScript. Made 5 courses on TypeScript. I'm now pivoting into this thing called AI that everyone seems excited about. And I have no idea how to package it. I don't know what works yet. Should I show this to you? I might show this to you. I have an internal document that I keep. I'm not actually sure if it's on this machine. It might be. Essentially, you can imagine it. It's a planning repo where I plan out all of my content. And I essentially have a bunch of stuff in there that I know will go viral on Twitter. I know that if I talk about, those who follow me know what this is. I know if I talk about this, it will go viral. I know if I talk about type root equals this, it will go viral. And people who know that know sort of what I'm talking about. And essentially every 9 months or so I recycle those. I could probably do it at a faster clip. And I know that those work. So because I'm not really doing this as a hobby, I don't get to have the feeling of I'm making something that's coming from the heart. You know, I do try to put my heart and soul into what I do, but it's also a playbook in some sense. I'm also sort of playing the game. And so a lot of what I'm trying to do is anticipating what developers want and attempting to give it to them. And fuck me, that's hard. I'm not sure if I have a good way of boiling that down, because I do think that the work that you're doing right now, because I imagine, raise your hand if you're a full-time content developer, content creator. Somewhat, okay, somewhat. Okay, there's a few of us. Okay, there's a sort of divorce that happens between when you're not actually doing the work and not actually deving and creating content. Because the best content, the way to know what developers want is to be a developer, right? And so the experience that if you are interested in doing that sort of thing, then knowing what developers want is, you just got to be a developer to do it. And so I suppose in a way I'm making content that I would have liked to see when I was learning to dev. I really wanted to get excited about this stuff, and I did find some people who were doing this stuff, but honestly I didn't think it was very good. So I'm trying to make the better version of what I would have wanted.
Do you know what this is for AI yet?
Nah. Question was, do I know how to package? Do I know what devs want in terms of AI? No, I don't really. I'm slowly figuring it out. I think probably, how would I approach this? I would approach this by thinking, what are the economic reasons that people want to learn AI? And where are people coming from right now? The economic reasons are, probably people are a little bit worried about their jobs. They're not particularly, maybe you're not very keen on AI in general. I'm sort of not keen on it in certain ways, especially when it comes to board games, funnily enough, and arts and all that stuff. And attempting to imagine what a developer would want in that situation. And I think I haven't figured it out. I'm still trying. It's bloody hard, though. Yeah, go on, I have a follow-up.
When you spoke, I may be misremembering, but I believe you had an MCP tweet go viral. Were you surprised by that, or were your spidey senses tingling on that?
I had an MCP tweet that went popular. I also had a literal, all I did was just take an Anthropic article, I said, this is cool, and it got 600,000 views on Twitter or something, and 4,000 likes. I have no idea what works. Some stuff works, some stuff doesn't. Okay. Oh no, not you. Do I ever feel conflicted about something that would make the course sell versus make it the most educational? My philosophy here is that I want people to be as badass as possible. And what that means, make people badass. I've had lots of people who've watched my content, purely only my content, and my free content at that, never taken my course, and have joined my Discord server, and have basically just gone nuts answering loads of people's questions, turned themselves into an insane TypeScript expert just literally from my free stuff. I spent 9 months writing a book. I gave it away for free. It's on my website. And I am still working with a publisher. Fuck me, publishers are really slow. It will come out if you've pre-ordered it. So what I tend to think is that the stuff that people will find exciting is the stuff that will make the course sell. I don't try to... it would be easy for me to say, to package it as a get-rich-quick scheme, right? Take this course, you'll make $1 million or something, but I try not to do that. In fact, I don't think I want to. What developer content do you admire? There's a lot of developer content. And I'm trying to remember anything that I admire. And this is really harsh. This is really hard. I know, this is hard. Because I suppose what there is out there is a lot of punditry, right? And I suppose that's not the kind of content that I think we want to. Raise your hand if you primarily want to make educational content, right? If you want to make content that's sort of with the purpose of educating people about a thing maybe that you make or that you do. Yeah, cool. Raise your hand if that category doesn't fit with the kind of content that you want to make. No, you got some more in the front. You just can't see them. I'm lying. Okay. I admire content. No, there is a lot of stuff I admire. I really admire Aaron D. Francis's content. I think he makes extremely good stuff. I really like what Jason Lengstorff is doing in terms of making game shows out of dev stuff. You ever seen this? Oh my gosh, he's got like a show called Leet Heat where he basically it's nuts. There's a lot of people doing really interesting stuff. And I find myself not watching a lot of it as well. So, it's such a hard question to answer. Okay, we got structuring the course. Is it better for people to dig it or dig you for it? Is the edutainment better if they're interested in you versus interested in the thing? So that's an interesting idea, is that am I trying to get people to like me or to like the thing that I'm talking about? Because for me, it's sort of both, right? If people like me, then they will like what I'm selling. And I often tell people this, if you're getting into the content game, if you have a choice between your logo, let's say, as your avatar, and just sort of hiding behind a logo, yeah, I am total TypeScript, right? Or you have a choice between having your actual face. It can actually be a fake name as well. I sort of wish I'd done a fake name, like Andre Stoltz on Twitter, not his real name. Like, that would be fun. Always use your face. People will trust a face a lot more than they will trust a business. And so if you are, this is why sort of DevRel is a funny thing, right? Because some people were fans of Planet Scale because Aaron D. Francis was there doing the DevRel. Aaron D. Francis is extremely talented, very, very good educator as well as a video creator. And when he moves somewhere else, it's like your favorite football player moving somewhere different, right? Like, yeah, I support Bukayo Saka. I don't support Arsenal, right? Although he'll never leave Arsenal. So, for me, I would say go with both. Don't hide behind the thing you're selling, and don't primarily talk about yourself, I suppose. And I often think about this in terms of, should I show my face on videos? Because a lot of people don't show their face on YouTube at all. Like, they just literally have the thing that they're showing and they just show that. And that's fine. But I think people just do connect with you better if you show your face and you actually chat to them. They feel like they're having a conversation with you. And that especially works in courses too. So I think that feeds into that as well, which is I always think you should show your face. It sort of makes you accountable in a way as well and more trustworthy. And oh God, I'm pressing the wrong buttons. Do I think speakers should worry about their voice? This is, I think, where I find recommendations difficult here, because I think that for me, my voice and the way I speak and my ability to improvise has been my most useful asset, because not only does it allow me to talk, I don't know about the quality of this talk, but at least I'm here speaking and I don't feel too bad about it. But also it allows me to really optimize my video pipeline. So I don't need to write scripts, essentially. I just talk. And I talk, and if I think I did a bad talk, then I press a bad take button on my machine and it deletes the previous take. I just keep going. So for me, the ability to improvise, and also the fact that I wasn't born like this, by the way. This is the result of training, this deep voice that I have. I do think it's been bloody useful. And especially because most of my clients are in America, having a British accent is also very good. They do seem to trust me more. Which is very funny. And the bald head, I don't know. It's a whole thing. So, yeah, I do. I don't have many strong recommendations in terms of training, weirdly, even though I used to be a voice coach. Because I've been out of the game for a long time. But I do think you should worry about your voice. What becomes a video and what becomes a blog post? So there's something here about content categorization and content reuse as well. Because not only are you trying to create the best content, you're also packaging content for different platforms. So YouTube, what works on YouTube, let's say 8 to 12 minute long form videos, I would say. That's the best for YouTube. Maximize the watch time, like get people on and just keep them hooked there, and then link to your next video so they just keep watching you. Shorts, I still haven't figured that out, but sort of a minute 30, vertical, all that. Twitter is sort of dead for video. LinkedIn is pretty good for video, weirdly. But also it's about how do you take the content that you're creating, these little sort of vertical bits, and then package those and redo those into horizontal videos. How do you take those, turn them into emails for your newsletter? How do you take all of that stuff, put them into articles? Do you do articles to video? Do you do video to articles? Essentially what you need are the set of primitives that you use to communicate with, for instance, essentially these cool, mind-blowing moments. If you just take a list of 100 of those that you know will go viral, you can package them and repackage them, turn them into shorts, compile them into long-form videos, get them into articles, and eventually bundle them into a course, if you fancy course creation. So it's all about these composable little primitives. Think of them as the components of your oeuvre. Couldn't think of a less poncy word, sorry. Of your outputs, let's say. that you can then package into, you just put in little boxes and you put those boxes on YouTube, on TikTok, on Instagram if you fancy. Interface. My content is very engaging, but probably wasn't when you started. I'm going to... Well, I'm going to show you something funny, which is, there is another Matt Pocock. There is another Matt Pocock. This Matt Pocock was an accent coach. I know. He's there. I told you, his hair's in different places. How to do an Irish accent in under 2 minutes. Don't do this. Don't hide behind a brand. Stupid. Absolutely stupid. Look at this dude. I chucked that jumper away a long time ago. What am I doing? Okay, cool. Look what I'm doing. Nah, I ain't turning it up. No way. No way. We're not listening to this. Absolutely not. But look, there's no cuts in this. This took me, a minute 45 to record. Took me probably about 5 minutes to produce. I put it on the internet. How many views has it got? Oh, just 409,000 views, incredibly. But this was the sort of content that I was interested in producing at the time. I knew straight away that I wanted to make content that was easy for me to do because I was busy. I don't know what the end goal of this was, but I did it. And money. Fucking hell. So I've got to get him off screen. It's very weird, by the way, to do SEO against yourself. You ever consider that I had to compete with myself from a previous life? Really weird. So I iterated on it by making lots and lots of small bets, by making content that was easy for me to record, that I could put out in 5 minutes, and I just got, I don't know if I got better, but I got more, if that makes sense. And the more I got, the more data I got back, and the more feedback I got, I suppose, and then that's how I iterated on it. So it's a quantity game. It's absolutely a quantity game. I'm going to go for one more question. My videos are good, but they don't get a lot of views. How do I share them without being spammy? What I'm hearing from that is that, hello Alex B, you don't have to reveal yourself. I will find you. What I hear there is that you're not making enough videos, essentially. YouTube needs a solid amount of data on you before it will start recommending your stuff. Same with anything that's algorithm-based, which is everything. So I would say make more stuff. And also, you may want to, the way I did it, the way I went from 0 followers to, let's say, 4,000, was I just kept pestering David, who is the creator of XState, to just, I made this cool article, what do you think? And he just started retweeting my stuff. And so people found me that way. And so once I had a little kickoff, then I was able to pivot into TypeScript. That sounds like I had a plan. I didn't have a plan, but that's just how it worked. I say we're at 5 to 9. Finished there. I think, let me just sum up.
You don't mention your pipeline.
I did say I leave it to the end. I'll tell you what I'll do. My pipeline is open source. It's on Matt Pocock Total TypeScript monorepo. You can actually dive into here and have a little look. It is literally all up there. It's just an FFmpeg-based pipeline. I may make a gist about it as well. And also I have a gist up here too, which is, you can Google it. It's called How to Be Helpful on the Internet, or Advice for People Trying to Be Helpful on the Internet, which is a sort of compendium of all this stuff. Be helpful so often, so effectively that people start asking you questions. Provide resources that are high quality and accurate enough. All that stuff. But to sum up. No, can't sum up. Where's the thing gone? Make people awesome. Frame everything in terms of problems and solutions. Help people where they are. That means on social media and also where they are in their journey. Respect people's time. Don't ever do interview content. Really literally just tell them interesting things and explode their brain. And I suppose entertain them with an idea that they will both enjoy you as a person and want to learn more from you, and also want to learn more from the thing that you are creating. And yeah, I don't know how this applies to non-course creation, actually, because I mean, developers love sugar, and maybe your API is really sugary as well. I think let's finish there. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Well, we have time for some questions. I'm doing my job for you.
Sorry, dude. We can have some.
That was a growth.